Recently, traditional forms of learning have been developed, new technologies. Consequently, more and more people are choosing to improve skills using online learning. Majority of people say it is beneficial, whereas others argue that online education has disadvantages as well. People are in search of many new ways of learning. One of the most popular methods is online learning. Unfortunately, this manner has not only advantages but and disadvantages also. Online method of education are advantageous for many reasons. First of all, it is very convenient. A human can use a computer access and internet connection anywhere. For example, at home, outdoor, or even in a bus. This benefits is especially important for people who live in remote or rural areas and cannot recollect or commute to school. However, it is also useful for parents who want to study young children at home or any student who prefer to work in the comfort of their own home or coffee. Moreover, online learning is more cheaper than traditional classroom, academic, or trade course. These courses are unpaid. Students can save money. For example, they do not have to pay for course of fees. On the other hand, online learning has the negative aspects. To begin with, limited social interaction prevents to study how much time an individual wants. Always, online programs give people a possibility of limited to use their program. Later, students will have to pay money if they want to continue a course further. Furthermore, the only method of communication of online learning is through email, chat room, or discussion groups. People cannot interact with others to face. It is the unnatural communication way. Humans do not see and feel relationship with classmates and feedbacks. In conclusion, online manner of education has both pros and cons. In my mind, online learning is necessary for humans due to its relieves and accelerates a method to deepen themselves skills. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sumit. Suman? Suman? Suman, are you there? Saksham?
Yes, ma'am.
Start your video.
Good morning. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Today, I, Saksham from Electrical Engineering Department, I'm going to tell you something about the Y2K bug. The Y2K bug, also called the year 2000 bug or millennium bug, a problem in the coding of computerized system that was projected to create a havoc in computer and computer networks around the world at the beginning of the year 2000. After more than a year of international alarm, feverish preparations, and programming corrections, few major failures occurred in the transition from December 31st, 1999 to January 1st, 2000. Until 1990s, many computer programs were designed to abbreviate a 4-digit years as 2-digit in order to save memory space. These computers could recognize 98 as 1998 but could not be able to recognize 00 as 2000, perhaps interpreting it to mean 1900. Many feared that when the clock struck midnight of January 1st, 2000, many affected computers would be using an incorrect date and thus fail to operate properly unless the computer softwares were repaired or replaced before that date. Other computer programs that projected budgets or debts into the future could begin malfunctioning in 1999. Then they made projections into 2000. In addition, some computer software did not take into account that the year 2000 was a leap year. And even before the dawn of 2000, it was feared that some computers might fail on September 9, 1999, because early programmers often used a series of nines to indicate the end of a program. It was feared that such a misreading would lead to software and hardware failures in computer used in such important areas as banking, utilities, system, government, records, and so on. With the potential of widespread chaos on and following January 1st, 2000, mainframe computers, including those typically used to run insurance companies and banks, were thought to be subject to more serious Y2K problems. But even newer systems that use network or desktop computers were considered vulnerable. The Y2K problem was not just limited to computers running conventional software. Many devices containing computer chips ranging from elevators to temperature control systems in commercial building to medical equipments were believed to be at risk, which necessitated the checking of these embedded systems for sensitivity to calendar dates. A Y2K preparedness survey commissioned in late 1998 by Capgemini America showed among 13 economic sectors studied in the US, government was the least ready for the Y2K. Similarly, in Europe, a report stated that many European countries were inefficient to solve the problem. An estimated of $300 billion budget was spent to upgrade computer and application programs to be Y2K compliant. As the first day of January 2000 dawned, it became apparent that computer systems were intact and the problem was solved. So many people also said that the problem was overhyped. Whatever it was, but it was the major concern of the governments at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. Saksham. Neha.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Start.
Very good morning, ma'am. Myself Neha, and today I will be delivering a speech on a topic: higher education in India, like should be accessible to even the marginalized groups of the nation. And I will be speaking in the support of the above context. So there are some points which I think I will be support the above context. First of all, our question is who is basically considered as a marginalized groups in India. So basically, the marginalized groups, communities in India includes like SCs, STs, women's, PWDs, sexual minorities, children, elderly, etc. And surprisingly, this is the like population consists like most part of the like total population of India. Now, what is basically marginalized group in education? Marginalized groups are often left behind by the national like education policies, denying many people their right to education. Although thinking about groups can be like very helpful, groups tends to be heterogeneous. Now, how are like students marginalized? The marginalization of a like student is due to the culture differences, like knowledge differences, and definitely the socio-economic status, which definitely like result in the need for the supplemental support within the education learning environment. Now, how are now why education is not accessible to all? Though everyone has a right to learn, definitely a lack of trained teacher, inadequate like learning materials, makeshift classes, and poor standardization make difficult for children, like for many children to learn. Other come to like school too hungry, like sick, exhausted from work of like household tasks to benefit from the lesson. And this type of different environment for the same purpose of studying is what makes the education groups different from the normal people. Now, what are the effects of like marginalization? Marginalization can negatively like impact our like physical, psychological, and emotional health. Some but not all of these like consequences may include like feeling of anger, anxiety, fear, depression, self-blame, sadness, stress, isolation, etc. Now, what is the effect of marginalization on education? In higher education, marginalization is worse than the primary education. Definitely, like only the rich one can afford like technical education, medical like education. Rest of the student cannot even able to compete with the wealthy student who are definitely like trained in the like best private schools and private institution. Does education have the potential to like free marginalized groups? Education is the like action of excluding the particular group of the citizen from the lower society, I mean the lower levels of society. This is like done by not giving them to the like freedom of like to have an active voice, identity, place, or something. Now, what is the role of education within the marginalized community? It is widely acknowledged that education has an like important role to achieve greater social greater degree of social justice. The education institutions are expected to equip children to the best of their ability for securing like meaningful place in society, and thus fostering the process of developing and society. Now, how can education can help the marginalized? Like how can education help the marginalized? Thus, the education is a tool for the empowerment of the marginalization, as it leads to an expansion of choices, freedom, and definitely the real opportunity. In other words, it leads to a like greater capability to enable the like individual to like lead a valuable and valued life. I myself being a woman and a part of a marginalized community, no one better can, ma'am, like tell me like how pursuing higher education has changed my life. Like every day I feel like more confident. Education does not only increases our intellectual intelligence, but it also like makes us like smart, frank, fast, accurate, and etc. So this is like was all that I wanted to say in the like support of the above context. Last but not the least, I want to remind you one of the Dr. Kalam's quote, that the sum of the brightest mind in the country can be found on the last benches of our classroom. Here I have used the reference like last benches of a classroom as a reference for marginalized groups of the nation. I mean in nation. So thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Neha. Nafis?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so good morning, respected professor and my dear friends. Today, I, Nafi Sadhan Mondal from the Electrical Department of First Year, would like to present a speech on the origin and spread of anime. Well, anime is a word that's derived from the word animation, and it refers to Japanese animation regardless of art style or origin as long as it has been produced by Japanese media. The earliest example of Japanese animation could be traced back to the 1917 in television ads, after which it grew slowly, having developed a domestic base in Japan. It was developed adopting and experimenting with techniques pioneered by the French and the German in the early 20th century and made it into their own. 1990s was a period known as the anime boom, where Japanese animation exponentially saw an international growth in its popularity, making the term anime only refer to Japanese animation all around the world. Due to this, anime culture further evolved when anime conventions started taking place. What are anime conventions? Anime conventions are large gatherings that may take place over a few period of days in order for fans of anime and manga to show their passion and dedication. They even bring in the voice actors, the animators, and the cartoonists to give a panel talk so that fans could meet with them and connect with them. Apart from these various activities like cosplay or costume play are some which heighten the hype for these conventions. Cosplay are not only restricted to the Japanese media, but also include the Western counterparts like Marvel or DC. So, how does anime differ from other animations that make it so popular? Well, anime are mostly adaptations of manga, which are Japanese comics, video games, or even light novels. The art style is very distinctive, and anime characters are usually recognizable from their large eyes, the vibrant choice of differently colored hair, small nose, and mouth. However, these are not like hard or fast rules, they may differ from anime to anime. The movement of hair in the animation is popularly known as the hair action, where the movement of hair is exaggerated and is used to emphasize the actions and emotions of the character for added visual effects. Anime and manga artists often draw from a common canon of iconic facial expression and illustrations to denote particular moods and thoughts. These techniques are often different in their form from their Western counterparts, and they include a fixed iconography that is used as a shorthand for certain emotions and moods. For example, sweat drops are used to depict nervousness, visible blushing for embarrassment, glowing eyes for intense glare. And another recurring slide gig is the use of the chibi figures, which are deformed or simplified character designs to comedically punctuate emotions like confusion or embarrassment. So, how has anime influenced the world? Well, this multi billion dollar industry has certainly influenced modern cartoons in different countries, as well as attracting many fans to Japan. It has even caused people from all around the world to decide to learn Japanese, leading to the creation of the JLPTs or the Japanese Language Proficiency Test. It could be said that this industry is a crucial one in promoting tourism in Japan, as well as influencing a lot of pop culture as we see today. Thank you, that's my time. Thanks, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Nafis. Hussein?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone out there. My name is Mohammad Fizal Asif, and I'm from ETC department. And it's my pleasure to join you all today. And I'm here to say some words and share my views upon the topic: what actually Indian media should do and what it is doing. Media, as we all know, is a very strong mode of communication. It helps in spreading knowledge, disbar false beliefs, and alter incorrect or outdated information, and helps in forming public opinion. which has the power to change world politics. Traditionally, the media has been used as an organ of the people against feudal oppression. Against the feudal oppression. Media around the world has played a very significant role in transforming feudal societies into a modern one whose effect is most visible in the western regions of the world. No doubt, media has played an indispensable role in highlighting India's achievement in the field of science, technology, and arts. However, unfortunately, India is still tagged as a developing nation in spite of its vast achievements. In this scenario, I believe the media has a great role to play by addressing the social, cultural, and economic problems that is still pulling India down to the category of a developing nation. It is a fact that our nation is huge in terms of its area and comprises of a very complex composition of population which varies according to race, class and caste. In such a situation, sticking to the democratic norms as well as taking care of each and every citizen of the nation is a tedious job for the governments, more so in smaller villages and panchayats. As much media enterprises, especially the small and medium press, are the only hopes for bringing out the realities of rural India and act as a mediator to voice their cause of concerns. As the media is developing fast in smaller towns and villages, thus it is becoming their duty to serve the need of people there and bridge the gap between ruler and the ruled. Therefore, it is necessary that media, especially the press, introduces modern ideas to the inhabitant of backward areas, which might help to remove superstitions and false beliefs, such as honor killing, female feticide, infanticide, and many more social evils from amongst the masses, and remove the backwardness, bring a transformation of their thought process, and make rural India a part of enlightened India. But unfortunately, press freedom has been eroding in India over the past few years. Today's media, under either threat, leveraging, or manipulations, is not only crawling, but is happily licking the boots of the present regime and wagging their tails to appease their masters by overzealous publicizing government's narrative. Not only owners, but most of the journalists have towed the line either as a survival instinct or willingly. And that is the beginning of end of journalism, which used to be in India and which ought to be in India. India's relationship with the freedom of press is the exact same as its relationship with neoliberalism at large. The reason why independence of journalists is in India is eroding are multi-faced as brave reporters fighting tooth and nail for the objective depictions of truth in the country are at direct odds with the institutions they fight alongside with. However, in recent times, many Indian journalists have lost their job and have been beaten for trying to report the news. India, unfortunately, India has been listed under countries considered bad for journalism and is among the most dangerous place in the world for journalists, being ranked at 142 among 180 countries in the World Press Freedom Index. Our Our leader Mahatma Gandhi looked upon journalism as a means to serve the people. He said in his autobiography, the sole aim of journalism should be service. The newspaper is a great power, but just as an unchained torrent of water submerges whole countryside and devastates crops, even so as an uncontrolled pen serves but to destroy. And in present cases, those unchained torrents can be compared to the political leaders who are continuously interfering in media's work and forcing them to show what they want. Instead of showing the truth to the society, they are just pleasing the leaders. At last, I want to say that in my opinion, the resident of India needs to know about these important issues in the news so they can try to help people who are vulnerable. And I believe that the media can alter aggressive ideologies existing in our society and reduce the ongoing cultural and structural violence from our society. It can help educate people, make India a modern, powerful, and industrial state that would prosper within itself and become self sufficient to take care of the welfare and well being of its people. and earn the respect in the world community. It is needless to say that media has a strong and cultural impact upon the society, thus it would operate within a society and for the society and reflect the positive image of society. Thank you. And I hope it creates a positive impact on our society. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. So yes,
Oh, yes, ma'am. Am I visible, ma'am?
yeah, start.
Oh, ma'am, good morning, ma'am. My name is Suyash Tiwari, and I am from the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering. And today I've been given an opportunity to speak, and I would like to use this opportunity to spread awareness on the topic of organ donation. Organ donation is a process by which a person promises his or her organs to be donated while he or she is in his or her senses, and if in case the person is in not in his or her senses, then for example, if he or she is brain dead, then it's the authority of his or her close family members to give the consent to donate the organ of the human being. And in India, under the Human Policy Act, Human Organ Donation Act of 1994, it's allowed that the person, it's known as the opt-in policy, which says that a person, in case has not given the consent to donate his or her organ while he or she was in his or her senses, then it is considered, it is presumed that the person is a donor. If the person is brain dead or something like that, then the person is presumed to be a donor. And if the person is if the family makes a special request, if a family asks for a special permission to not to donate organ, then that is a different case. Then maybe it could be allowed, but it is not being implemented properly till now. But as we are advancing, as the technology is advancing, and as the people in India are advancing, we hope that organ donation will become more and more common, and this policy will be implemented properly. Now, the organ transplantation is of different types. We can donate organs like liver, pancreas, lungs, kidneys, eyes, brain, heart. Every kind of organ can be donated, and it's not necessary that a person has to be brain dead in order to be a donor. Like, for example, if liver, in case of liver, a healthy person can donate a part of his or her liver, and it can be transplanted to a person in need, and then the liver regrows. So that's the case. And similarly, pancreas can also be used in similar way. So it's not necessary that a person has to be brain dead to be a donor. And this is the thing. And different types of organ donations are it's number one, autograft. Autograft means that a person can donate autograft says that a person, in a single person, a damaged tissue and a healthy tissue is taken and applied on a damaged tissue. So for example, if a person has a damaged skin somewhere, then a part of his healthy skin will be taken and applied to the damaged skin, and that is how the donation takes place. And the other part is isograft, which says that the two genetically similar people are taken. Like, for example, their blood group has to be same, and then the transplantation takes place. And in this case, it's common that the transplantation is successful. Most of the times, the transplantation is successful because it is done between two genetically similar people. And this is the case this is the most common type of transplantation. And number three is xenograft. Xenograft says that a person, xenograft is basically a transplantation between two different species. And like, I'll take an instance that a pig's heart valve has already been transplanted into a healthy human, like into a human being in need. So this has already been done, and this is even more becoming more common as far as the technology is advancing. Number four is the split transplantation, which says that in case a person is deceased, just a few minutes after the person is deceased, the liver is still in work, so we can take out the liver and cut it into two parts and apply to two different people, and then it regrows. So that is another type of transplantation. The fifth type is domino transplantation, which says that the complete structure, like, for example, lungs and the heart, these two things are not easy to be separated, to be transplanted separately. So it's taken out from a person who is going to die, or who is brain dead, and then it's transplanted into a person in need, or two different people, because after taking the structure out, it is easy to separate them. But to take them out is difficult to take them out separately. So this is another type of transplantation. And the final transplantation is ABO incompatible transplantation, which is done up to the in the children up to the age of 12 years, when the children is completely not grown completely. So the body is in a state to accept even an incompatible organ and grow itself accordingly. So this is another type of transplantation. So these are the different types of transplantations. And in conclusion, I would like to say that everybody should be a donor, and in order to become a donor, first of all, we have to get a donor card. So this is the first step to become a donor. We have to promise that we will be a donor, and as we are advancing, as our society is advancing, it is important that we become donors, because organ donation is a noble deed, and if we have not done any noble deed in our life, then it is the biggest noble deed that one can do, because a single person can save up to 7 lives by organ donation. So we should all become donors. And with that note, I would like to end my speech. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Suyash. Ritika?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, start.
Hello, everyone present here. I am Ritika from Electronics and Telecommunication Department, and today I am here to say some lines on the music has the power to heal. Music, it is a very common word for everyone present here. Means everyone listens to songs, someone sing, and music is a pleasant arrangement of sounds in the air, and it soothes our body, it soothes our soul, and help us to keep ourselves refreshing and relaxing during our tough times. Music, like today, our surrounding is every time like full of chaos and disturbances, and everybody needs a piece of peace, calmness in their lives. Like everyone needs that sometime when they are frustrated, depressed, or something like that, they can listen or they can do something of their interest or listen to something which can help them feel refreshing or relaxing. So music is one of that thing. Even nowadays many people are going through some mental issues, even like not we can say that they are mad or something like that, but normally everyone is going through some type of mental problems, like somehow they are depressed, somehow they are frustrated, or somehow they are very much under pressure there in their works. So for that they go to therapists, they go to some mental therapists, and they don't give like medicines directly to those type of people. And in that case also music is one of the things that is used by those types of doctors, those types of therapists. And music, as it is so much attached to our heart, like when we are listening to our music or listening to a song, we're not like judging it by listening that yeah, this it contains this types of line, this and that, etc. We listen to it by like it is selection from our heart. So it has a great impact on our mood, how, which type of music, which type of songs we are listening. And sometimes it just changes our mood according to the songs we are listening. And sometimes it help us to bring our good back memories also. Like some type of memories are so much related to our some songs, and that type of memory is so much like we can't forget. Songs are something which are hard to forget even. And for us, like we are students, or some people who have too much works to do, who have to means keep their themselves wake up, or during the night they have to do so much work, they have to work for like continuing 7 to 8 hours. In that type of case, they need something which can help them to keep themselves concentrated, which can help them to focus on their work. And according to my experience, how means from like JE to from this, or every time, even this time when we have to do so much assignments and works, and I have to do some works on night even, I use like music. I'm listening to music, and I can work more than hours, which can I can just use simply means without listening to music. For me, it is like a thing which help me to keep myself concentrated, focused during my days when it very busy days, or some very frustrated days. So for me this line is very much important, that music has the power to heal. And I think for everyone this line is proven in their life. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Ritika. Manas, start. You're not audible. You're not audible. Unmute. Himadri, are you there? Himadri, are you there? Himadri? Abrodeep? Abrodeep?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, can I would speak or wait for
I was
him?
calling out your name. Where were you?
Ma'am, I couldn't hear. The earphone was not working.
Okay. You're Himadri, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Start. Turn on your video. Start.
Ma'am, is it audible?
Yeah, start.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I, Himadri Chattopadhyay, would like to speak on the topic of online education. Online education has given immense popularity among working professionals and students pursuing higher education. These categories of online learners find immense benefit in the autonomy and flexibility that these courses offer. Online learning platforms can be planned around their schedule, which may include full-time employment, internships, and caring for family. Distance learning programs has been around for a long time, even before technology made it extremely accessible. Traditional schooling has been seeing an increased proliferation of virtual training materials and online courses. The most successful schools are the ones which can adapt to the changing conditions and to the expectations of students, parents, and teachers. Instead of focusing on the pros and cons, the conversation we should be having today is about leveraging online education into our own education systems to make our education systems more conducive to learning. Online courses call for a greater amount of motivation. So online courses involve setting our own goals, tracking our progress, and meeting deadlines. One does not learn effectively in isolation. So online courses do offer emails, one-on-one support, and discussion forums. Technology also adds on to the visual experience by incorporating animations for more effective learning and communication. As students progress to the higher classes, they seek more autonomy and intellectual freedom. Online courses can help them for learning highly individualized learning courses. This combined with hands-on experience, real-world exploration, and through assessments can be highly beneficial to their learning progress. They can explore a variety of options before committing to specialization. Online learning platforms can help them become more independent learners. I believe that we must not hold back students from pursuing an online course, but instead provide them necessary guidance as they navigate through it. Mobile apps have enhanced online learning opportunities for school children, which have become quite popular. These apps are being used to supplement online classroom learning. Virtual public schools have already sprung up in various parts of the world. They even they even provide a combination of traditional schools with online education. There are programs that provide support to the families that wish to homeschool their children in the form of online learning courses. However, their effectiveness in the long run needs to be studied. Online programs also open up opportunities for the children from the weaker socioeconomic backgrounds, who have limited access to the learning resources such as teachers, textbooks, and infrastructure. It will connect them to a global network of online learners, exposing them to a large number of perspectives. The ideas that they will receive will not be limited by the number of heads in one classroom. Online learning programs are also helping teachers and educators advance their skills in curriculum implementation, policy making, and education, and leadership opportunities both independently and with the help of institutions. It lets them collaborate with their peers and learn new instructional skills that are relevant to their career. The programs can help them also develop new skills and capabilities in the students with the help of technology and interdisciplinary approaches. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am, can I'm here.
Yes. Manas, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, start.
Hello.
I'm Manas Bihani from Electronics and Telecommunication branch, and today I'm going to be talking about movie Parasite and how it tackles inequalities. In a growing world of inequalities, where the difference between the rich and poor is increasing, we are introduced to the movie Parasite. The saga between the rich and the poor is in itself not a novel topic. Yet, what makes Parasite one of the most great pictures of our times, quite apart from its brilliant cinematography and acting, is that through about money, this film does not trace differences between the rich and poor only through the prism of money. Instead, it presents us to the everyday realities of inequalities through bodily senses, particularly of smell and sight. It provides at once comic, at once tragic intersection between two families, same in size, each four members, the upper class Park family and the lower class Kim family. The Kim family is an unemployed bunch aspiring to a comfortable life. In a fateful, later on tragic turn of events, they plot their way into the house and lives of Park family. From there on, they are interlocked in a web of dangerous incidents. The Park family members are presented as privileged, entitled, and also nice people who talk politely to the helps. The movie genius lies in the fact that, unlike previous film on class, the rich do not utter the word poor or its synonyms to describe those class that is serving them. Rather, they identify and therefore demarcate their service class from themselves through their smell. And uh, Parasite also brings the discussion of inequalities to the forefront through sight. As audiences, our eyes move down as we move into the lives of Tim family, the underbelly of the city, living in an underground, small, smelly, bug-infested flat from where they see the flat outwards and upwards. In contrast, the Park family living in a mansion perched on top of a hill from where they look down upon the city. One of the other cinematographic geniuses of this film is the use of stairs. The Kim access their home by climbing down the stairs, whereas the Park climb up to enter their home. The lives in this mansion are starkly divided between the above and the below, metaphorically and quite literally. Above that, the below, below that, the above is unaware of. In conclusion, the brilliance of Parasite lies in its ability to explain class differences in inequalities at the opposite end of spectrum through affections. This is not a usual movie where inequalities are present as a manual of code of conduct that regulates interaction between the rich and the poor. Instead, it presents the real yet dystopian, the hopeful yet doomed, the lateral yet vertical, macabre state of inequalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Manas. Obrodeep?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, start. Your video? Yeah, start.
Hello, everyone. I am Avrodit Nyogi from Department of Electronics and Telecommunication. Today, my topic of discussion is India of my dream. India, that is Bharat, is a country with a hoary heritage. India is a country that once illuminated the world with the light of wisdom. India is a country called the God. India is a country that once the Maharashtra University, once called the God. But unfortunately, India is a country which is burdened with overpopulation, tattered with terrorism, blackened with corruption, and periled with poverty. Again, India is a beggar sitting on the gold mine. Now, what sort of India do we dream of? Illiteracy, malnutrition, epidemics will be the perils of the past. The gap between the haves and have-nots will be reduced. The soil of the land will not be drenched with the blood of innocent people. The poison tree of crime and corruption will be uprooted. Food, clothing, shelter, pure drinking water, medical facility, etc., like fundamental things, will be within the easy reach of the common people. Hargobind Khuranas, Venkataramanas, Kalpana Chawlas will not have to take foreign citizenship. We want India to become one of the emerging nations of the world. We dream that India, the sleeping giant, will wake up with a gigantic jerk. However, we should not bask in the glories of the past only, but work hard to see our dreams and make India सारे जहां से अच्छा. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Arjo, 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 are you there? Aviral,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. Start.
Ma'am,
Start.
may I start?
Yeah, start.
Hello. A very warm good afternoon to everyone. I am Aviral Yadav from the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering, and I am here to speak on the topic privatization of public sector in India, a right step or selling of family silver. The year 2022 was a landmark year in terms of government disinvestment program as it saw the first privatization in 19 years. Two central public sector units, Air India and Central Electronics, were privatized in 2021, with Air India being sold for rupees 18,000 crores. Also, the biggest disinvestment in India history is expected in January-March quarter of 2022, with country's largest insurer, LIC, to come out with an IPO and list itself on the bourses. All this raises a question in our mind. Does all this, namely privatization, serve public interest, or is it merely selling of family silver? Well, many business analysts and experts on economy are of the view that privatization could speed up economic growth with increased competition, while a number of them find that it could bring more problems like unemployment, taking economy backwards due to its inherent issues. If we take a close look, India has a mixed economy in which both private and public sector exist in all domains of the business. But the people have enormous faith in public sector units than the private sector, owing it to be a subsidiary of the government. This faith is developed from the fact that since they are run by the government, it won't dupe them. The second factor which has made PSUs popular and reliable among Indians is the low product and service cost. India is a developing country. Not everyone here can afford high-end services offered by private players. Hence, PSUs show more dependency from the middle class and the poorer sections of the society. So, if PSUs play so important roles in our life, what could be the objectives of privatization? Will it only reduce government debt? No, there exists a lot of advantages of privatization. Also, it is a well-known fact that generally state-run companies are predominantly influenced by political intentions rather than economic well-being. Thereby, it deters government influence and aids economic growth. It increases competition in overlying market and protects against monopolistic sluggishness. Due to lack of government interference, the market becomes more dynamic and follows integral economic values of demand and supply. And the most important point, hiring will be on the basis of merit free from corruption, providing level ground of competition for our youth. Hence, I believe privatization is necessary for non-strategic and loss-making sectors, but it should be done in an organic manner because our middle class and poorer section of societies are highly dependent on them because of government schemes and regulated prices. Thank you for your patient listening. Have a nice day.
Okay. Brotati,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. Start.
Good afternoon, all of you. Myself, Brotati Ghosh. Today, I am going to give a speech on the topic of online education and its advantages and disadvantages. With the advent of internet and computers, online education has become very popular. It is a very convenient and easy way of learning. Students learn online with the help of computer and mobile phones. In online education, students access online study materials, join virtual lectures, post questions to teachers, chat with fellow students, give virtual exam, and do much more things. However, online education has both advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are comfort and convenience. Students can attend online lectures from the comfort of their home. They can study at their convenience. The second one is documentation. All the study documents, training materials, email, etc. are safely stored in online databases. If students need any of this, they can access it immediately. It saves a lot of their time and they can find it in the same place. The third one is variety of programs and courses. Students have a lot of options to choose an online education. Lot of fuel is also stored. Online education is comfortable during heavy rainfall or unfavorable climate conditions. The fourth one is no age barrier. People of any age can enroll for the most of the online courses. It helps people to upgrade themselves in a professional skills. Now, the disadvantages are first one, classroom interaction is missing. In online education, there is no face to face conversation between students and teachers. Students cannot meet other fellow students. This put barrier in communication skills and personality development. The second one is cost. Everyone cannot afford to buy a computer or a laptop. Many people don't even have a smartphone. Internet prices are also increasing. Hence, everyone cannot afford online education. The third one is technical issues. There can be a technical problem in the computer or network issues during online classes. This can make it difficult to complete a course on time. At last, we come to the conclusion that online education is a good platform of learning. It can be seen as a complement and extension of traditional way of education, but it cannot fully replace the traditional way of education. The human relationship that develop in a group is absent in online education. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Divyajyoti. 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 Devashish.
Am I audible, ma'am? Hello,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yeah, start.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I will be giving a speech on nihilism. Nihilism comes from the Latin word nihil, which means nothing. Nihilism is the belief that all values are baseless and that nothing in the world has a real existence. It is the philosophy that rejects value and valuation that society places on people and object and life, and instead states that everything is meaningless. It is often associated with extreme pessimism and skepticism. The term nihilism was first coined by Friedrich Heinrich Jacobi, who negatively characterized transcendental idealism, which is the philosophy which puts everything as a function of human mind. Uh, then, so basically, nihilist has three principles. First one is existence is useless, and there is no truth. Second one, and the third one is there is no real truth. There are various forms of nihilism. First one is epistemological nihilism, which states that there is no true knowledge, there is no fact, but only interpretations. And second one is existential nihilism, which basically states that the life is meaningless. And third one is uh, ethical or moral nihilism, which is states that there is no reason to uphold moral principle for your own sake or sake of anyone else. There is also other two types, which is passive and political. Passive simply states that nihilism in its own is an endpoint or the sign to stop for searching for meaning. And the political nihilism simply states that nobody should hold any political view and should instead try to tear down all political institution. Uh, yeah. So till now everything seems dull about nihilism. So what's the point? So that point we can find out if we look at the life of Friedrich Nietzsche. So he had a very painful life. So he was born in 1845, had a very poor health from birth, and he was half blind since the age of 9. His father died at 35, and his brother also died very young. He experienced very depressive symptoms with suicidal thoughts during his last 20 years of his life. And also, he had a mental breakdown, after which he was sent to an asylum. So, what really caused this insanity? Well, he was working on his theory. So while working on his theory, he feared that the nihilistic revelation that he had discovered, if humanity knew about it, then humanity will be left with no clear system of meaning, and would devolve into widespread despair in form of nihilism. Basically, everyone would be very depressant. So his key idea to resolve so the key idea to resolve this idea was uh, to basic his key idea to resolve this issue is the recognition that there is in fact no universal objective truth to be known, and this is where optimistic nihilism comes in. Optimistic nihilism views the belief that there is no underlying meaning to life from a perspective of hope. It's not that we are doomed to live in a meaningless universe. It is that we get a chance to experience ourselves in the universe we share. An optimistic nihilism looks at a world lacking meaning and purpose and sees the opportunity to create their own. Uh, so this concept can actually help us, someone who has depression or have some sort of regretful thought. It is a way of looking at upsetting concept like death with more accepting of attitude. So, uh, so in conclusion, uh, we, sh- uh, we should not. There is no purpose in life if we look at it at very depth. So we should create our own reasons. And at last, I would like to end the speech with a quote that is, with every passing day, we came closer to death. So we should make most out of it and keep smiling even in pain. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Devashish?
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Devashish Gupta. Is here to highlight my views on e-commerce. Electronic commerce, known as e-commerce, means trading in products or services using computer network like internet. It is online marketing system instead of physical involvement of intermediaries like wholesalers, retailers before reaching end users, which is called B2C, business to consumers. Recently, there has been a rise in number of e-commerce companies that have come up in the output market, offering various concessions and discount. Apart from giant companies like Amazon and Flipkart, many other small companies also come up to compete. With a large and still growing base of internet users, the market for e-commerce companies is huge. Sometimes a discount is offered over and above the regular discount, whose e-commerce companies wish to clear the piled up stock, and sometimes it is offered during festival seasons to attract customers. Whether the discounts they offered are healthy for market practices has become the debatable issue. Many find the discount as harmful as they are offered on slow moving perishable long time inventory holdings. Current e-commerce market is spoiled customers are trained to hunt for and enter a promo code
The term has literally lost its meaning. What turns supposed to be a promo has gone mainstream and staying as an integral part of a product. It looks like what matter in the current market is the bank balance of the company and how much you can afford to give discount. This makes one wonder how many entrepreneurs and their good ideas are gathering killed due to turbulence caused by discount offered companies. At last, I conclude the excess of everything is harmful. The growth of e commerce should be done in the umbrella of the norms and regulation. The controlled e commerce market will prove a boon to the economy, but an uncontrolled market may go berserk and will prove to be a band that will hinder the growth of country. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Devashish. Rahul?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. Myself, Rahul Kumar from Information Technology Department, and today my topic is metaverse. And first of all, what is metaverse? Metaverse is a virtual universe that extends the dimension of the physical world. Imagine it's a hyper-real video game. Its intention is to replicate what people already do in their daily lives, like, for example, socializing, shopping, or attending concerts. And it creates the real world in a virtual environment where people can interact with spaces, objects, and other people. Metaverse will also be a large scale industrial workspace. Manufacturing companies can make digital copies of their machines that they can test in the metaverse before implementing in the real world. Their design can the decision can then be corrected or improved before construction begins, having time and resources. In these difficulties time of pandemic where we cannot go outside to enjoy by using metaverse. By using metaverse, we can feel real world by sitting in the room, real world sitting in the room, and uh, and we can also enjoy everything like going for picnic with friends, playing outdoor games, and watching any sports. By using this, we can be in our campus. We all we do all things which we can do in real life, exploring the whole campus, attending lectures by sitting in lecture hall virtually. Also, these metaverse are not only restricted to use only in pandemic situations. Suppose we want to attend any meeting in any function, but we cannot able to go due to time constraint. We can attend it. Is we can also attend it and feels that we are attending in real. And coming to at last coming to the privacy, we are also human. We can develop to secure privacy, and government can also regulating bodies to regulate. So I think metaverse is a upcoming future. In future, every one of us will using it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Anubhav?
Ma'am, am I audible? Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, start.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Anubhav Sinha from the Information Technology Department, and I'd like to speak about the topic lessons learned during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 was a mega pandemic, if there ever was one. No other outbreak affected as many people in different countries as this one did. The impact was so swift and so widespread that it forced us to learn new lessons and rediscover some of the old ones, much to our chagrin. Here are some of the lessons that we learned or rediscovered. Number one, lockdown works and it's essential. Not promptly imposing lockdown let the virus spread throughout the world, turning vibrant cities into ghost towns. People had to be confined to their homes, factories had to be closed, and the economy took a huge hit. In each country, it was the lockdown that finally stopped the spread of the virus. We saw that after the lockdown was lifted, the immediate rise again in the number of cases. The immediate rise in the number of cases and the government had to impose lockdown yet once again. Thus, it showed that lockdown works and it's really essential. Number two, hygiene helps. If there was any old lesson that came handy during the pandemic, it was the fact that hygiene works and it's essential. Now, we had already been previously taught the values of hygiene, but the sudden upward rise in soap and sanitizer sales showed as if we were indicated as if we were learning the value of washing our hands for the first time. Number three, telecommuting and work from home is possible. The business process outsourcing industry showed that telecalling could get many things done. The IT and software industry demonstrated that one could be in a whole different continent and still enhance productivity. The pandemic period was the first time we really explored the values of remote working and work from home and made a significant change. Number four, our medical capacity is limited and the medical infrastructure is very poor. Medical capacity in urban areas had previously been taken for granted. However, during the pandemic, we saw that even the richest of nations were not well equipped to battle the pandemic. One could only imagine the dire situation in developing countries like ours. Thus, in the future, India should make it its first priority to build proper medical infrastructure so as to tackle any such future emergency. Number four, we are overexploiting the Earth's resources and polluting the environment. There was the rapid return of clear blue skies, breathtakingly fresh air, clean water in moribund rivers, chirping of birds, and the healing of the ozone layer, and the sighting of wild animals in urban areas. Re-establish the fact that we are messing up nature in a very bad way, the way that we live. If we continue our high polluting way post the COVID-19 crisis, we are bound to face grave consequences in the future. Last but not the least, the pandemic taught the people the importance of saving money. Due to the huge fall in economy, people who had no savings suffered a big financial crisis. Hence, people learned that they should avoid unnecessary expenses and save money for any such future emergency. Thus, these were some of the lessons that we learned during the COVID-19 pandemic, as we are still reeling from the disastrous impact of the virus even 2 years later. With that, I'd like to conclude my speech. Thank you.
Stay. Okay, thank you. Dishika.
Ma'am, she's traveling. She can't appear today. Can she give the viva tomorrow?
Okay, okay. Shayoni, right?
Um, yes, it's Shani, ma'am.
Okay, Shayoni. Yes. Start.
Good morning, everybody. This is Shani Singh from Department of Information Technology. I'd like to say something today that I hope will enlighten your life in some way. You know what Aldous Huxley said when he was on his deathbed? He just reflected his entire life's learning and then summed it up in 7 simple words. Let us be kinder to one another. All too often, we believe that in order to live a truly fulfilling life, we must achieve some great act or a grand feat that will put us on the front of covers of magazines and newspapers. And nothing is a bigger lie than this. A meaningful life is made up of series of acts of decency and kindness, which ironically add up to something truly great over the course of a lifetime. Everyone who enters our life has a story to tell and a lesson to teach. Every person you pass during the moment that make up your day represents an opportunity to show you a little more of compassion and courtesy that defines your humanity. Why not start being more of the person you truly are when you're alive and do what you can do to enrich the world around you? In my mind, if you even make one person smile during your day or brighten the mood of even one stranger, your day has been a worthwhile one. Kindness, quite simply, is the rent we must pay for the space we occupy on this planet. Become more creative in the ways you show compassion to strangers, paying the toll for the person in car behind you, offering a seat on the subway to someone in need and being the first to say hello are great places to start. You may sometimes think that your help is completely insignificant in the world because in race of human, we're losing the humanity. Being self-centered is in the trend and being ignorant is in the fashion. When the people you help doesn't show you gratitude or doesn't acknowledge your help, you shouldn't think your help is wasted. But no, there's a difference between doing a favor and a help. When you help someone, you do not expect anything back. Being kind in this cruel world would not be easy sometimes. As people you would help would even stab you in the back, but not everyone is as bad as them. Start believing that good people are not the exception, bad people are. Not everyone would tell you this, but just know on this big planet, there's a small corner where someone drinks coffee from the favorite cup that you gave them. Someone heard a song on the radio that reminded them of you. Someone read the book that you recommended and plunged headfirst into it. Someone smiled after a hard day's work because they remembered the joke that you told them today. Someone loves themselves a bit more because you gave them a compliment. Never think that your good deed has no influence or whatsoever. Your trace, which you leave behind with every good deed, cannot be erased. I'd like to conclude this with a quote by John Weasley. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. Thank you.
Okay. Arpon?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, start.
Good morning, respected ma'am, and to all my dear friends. Today, I'll be ventilating my ideas on metaverse, the next big thing. Last year, we all witnessed metaverse go from the ideas imagination to take reality. Though it is not a new term, the term metaverse was coined in Neil Stephenson's 1992 science fiction novel Snow Crash, where humans, as programmable avatars, interacted with each other in software giants in a three-dimensional virtual space that uses the metaphor of the real world. Stephenson used the term to describe a virtual reality-based successor to the internet. However, it gained popularity and became mainstream after Facebook rebranded itself to Meta Platforms in October 2021 to go beyond social media and unlock the new world of internet. But what exactly is metaverse? In simple language, the metaverse is a virtual reality world where users can interact, play games, experience things as they would do in a real world. There is no denial of the fact that metaverse has captivated the public's imagination. Despite it being still at a nascent stage, blockchain is playing a crucial role in the development of the digital economy. Blockchain enables the users to use cryptocurrency NFTs has proved very much useful for in today's generation. Considering its limitless capabilities, metaverse will provide ample opportunities for businesses of all sizes, thereby accelerating the growth of major economics sectors, including real estate, etc. One may think the metaverse will be a bunch of interconnected virtual spaces, the World Wide Web, but access through virtual reality. This is largely correct, but there is also a fundamental but slightly more cryptic side to the metaverse that will set it apart from today's internet, the blockchain. In the beginning of Web 1.0, the information superhighway of connected computers and servers that you could search, explore, and innovate. Usually, though a centralized company's platform, for example, AOL, Yahoo, Microsoft, around the turn of the millennium, Web 2.0 came to be characterized by social networking sites, blogging, monetization, etc. Metaverse has gained sudden popularity in the real estate market as investors, crypto influencers, and owners from across the globe are willing to pay a huge amount to experience the next tech-enabled chapter of the sector. According to our international market report, the size of the global metaverse real estate market is expected to grow by 31% during the year 2022-2028. Further, the inclination of investors towards the ownership of NFTs is skyrocketing the emergence of new trends, thereby augmenting the growth of real estate market. There are various uses of real metaverse. Some of these are the emergence of the metaverse platforms. The last months of 2021 for normal people were perplexed to understand the concept of the metaverse real estate. But at the time, highly advanced blockchain or crypto influencers were setting up their metaverse platforms to build their own, develop their own NFTs and various things. Each metaverse marketplace is recognized for its unique spaces. The real estate metaverse platform can feature commercial platforms, shops, etc. Various real estate agents are also working in the metaverse platforms. Like metaverse real estate agents are not the easiest people to come by. However, they can be found on professional networks. Potential investors can rely on them for various activities. Um, with the advent of metaverse, real estate has opened magnitudes of avenues of employment. Metaverse platforms are conducting massive recruitment drives to hire specialists from Silicon Valley, including big technology giants. Further, people with significant experience and interest in VR and AR technologies are also leveraging their new technologies. Metaverse are often prominent positions to tech giants, many of them occupying front row seats in gaming metaverse, real estate metaverse, and tech giants. So yeah, metaverse really is the next big thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Arpan. Ashish?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, start.
Okay, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I am Ashish Kumar Singh from the Department of Information Technology, and I am here to throw some light on the topic higher education should be made accessible even to the marginalized group of the nation. The question arises, who are the marginalized? So, it is that group which is different from the majority value to subjugation or the kind of treatment they got. So we all know that education is the key to social mobilization and change. And if we belong to a nation, everyone will want to progress, and that is only possible through education. Talking about education, it not only comprises of the bookish knowledge, but also traditional, conventional, and the most important, education about their rights and duties, so that they cannot be suppressed and to take a stand for themselves. Higher education is costly and should be made cost effective, and this can be done through affirmative action program of affordable education model. Higher education is something that everyone should pursue, and for people who with the intention of studying and willingly going ahead for that, the government should make sure that they should get proper scholarship or stipend so that they can survive for the day. It is often said that seen that people with disability gets jobs which are not really suitable to them, but they can do really well in the field of research, but they are unable to do so because they are unable to receive such advanced education, and this hampers all. Education will definitely improve their lifestyle, which will be benefited by the entire nation. While reading about this topic, I came across a very recent news article which said that the education ministry, has strictly instructed for the reservation of seats. Now, this is clearly clear that despite of the reservation of seats in all central institute, the marginalized community is unable to make the best out of this debatable topic. So, do I really need to explain why do we need to look into this matter? This has been sufficiently argued that education is the direct key to upliftment of any section of the society, especially the marginalized section. Hence, I would conclude that if we need more B.R. Ambedkar, more Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and Pandit Ramabai, we need to make higher education accessible to every section of society. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Ashish. Okay, today we will stop with Ashish. Tomorrow we will continue with Biprodeep. Okay, it's already time, so let's just stop here today. Thank you, class. You may leave.
Thank you, ma'am.